Welcome back to the greatest YouTube advertising series ever made on YouTube, or anywhere really. I'm not joking when this stuff that's inside this series is better than anything you'll ever buy. I say it very confidently. Now, another thing I'm going to say very confidently. If you apply what's in this video, this is all you need to make multiple millions of dollars a year through paid advertising. Now, hold on. Hold on to your belt buckle. You have to be really, really, really good with your offer, your funnel, everything else out there. If you don't have that, it's not going to work. And I'm not saying if you watch this video, you're going to become a multimillionaire. What I am saying is if you are really good at what you do, this is every step you need to do to get to that level. This is mid-tier. Now, the last video I released was about lower tier. That's about spending $100 to $300 all the way up to $800 a day on ads. This is going to take you from $800 to $2,000 a day. If you get to $2,000 a day ad spend, you should be generating at least over $1 million a year in revenue, hopefully profit. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do in this video step by step. So let's begin. Okay, welcome back to the whiteboard of truth and justice. Again, have you subscribed yet? It's gonna be a major bummer if you are not subscribed and you miss the next video, because then everybody's gonna be like doing this on their YouTube ads and they're gonna beat you up like that little kid on the playground who just would not go through puberty. You don't want to be that guy. So be sure to go and subscribe and hit the bell so you get notified when we release these prime guides. Now, look, what we're talking about today is mid-tier scaling. And so let me kind of explain what I mean by mid-tier. I did in the intro, but let's make it really concrete. So when you're at lower tier, you're going to be spending anywhere from $300 to, let's just say, $800 a day. This might actually seem like a ton of money to a lot of people watching this video. When it comes to advertising scale, this is not. It's just not. I'm not being like $24,000 a month is not a lot of money. I'm just telling you, like, this right here is not that huge. But that right there is more than enough to make a six-figure profit, multi-six-figure profit business. That's what plenty of businesses do. So I want to stress that. And this is actually the easy part. Most businesses get this right. It's when people start scaling from 800 to, let's say, 2,000 a day, this is where most businesses fail. If you understand how to do mid-tier correctly, you can have a seven-figure business. In fact, you will have a seven-figure business. I don't know many people that spend $2,000 a day and don't have a seven-figure business. It's the keys to the castle. And so if you want to become a millionaire, you want to have $1 million business, this is all you got to know. The problem is everybody misses up mid-tier. I would only say most people don't have seven-figure businesses, and the reason why is because they don't understand mid-tier. And also their business doesn't last in the high six figures for long because they mess up low tier with the mistakes that happen that block people from growing through mid-tier and really shut down people that try and operate at low tier like a goof troop for too long. So let me explain these principles, and I'm going to show you the targeting. The targeting is the easy part. Using AdWords or YouTube to scale, that's the easy part. It's understanding how you need to be going and thinking about this. That's the hard part that nobody does and nobody does right. Everybody that does this right I know is a millionaire. So listen up. And listen up closely, because I can almost guarantee only 3 out of 10,000 people are going to apply this video correctly. And those 3 people will go on to become multimillionaires. So here's exactly what you need to understand. It is insanely important to track. I cannot stress this enough. Just looking over these results real quick to just show you this point. If I just go into my tracking and I throw in just, let's put in a recent date on here. Let's just do like the 9th or something, for example. If we go into AdWords, what I have right here is I've gone and tracked around 5 of these sales. Okay, that seems pretty good. Actually, it doesn't seem that good because when we go through payment plans and everything, this was a really low scale day too. This is a perfect example of a mid-tier day. But when we look at pay plans and everything like that, this is like a break-even day in cash, probably a 2x when pay plans all come in. But if we go and look at the actual sales data behind these ads, on these days, on the 9th, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 ads. So we missed 50% of the sales in AdWords. Now, this isn't just like, gee whiz, like, holy moly, look how accurate my data tracking is. I cannot scale if I'm going and bidding on shit that isn't profitable. I cannot scale if I'm holding off on ads for testing, or if I'm playing the middle ground on ads that are super profitable. For example, there's many ads right here. If we go and look at, for example, converter sales right here. This ad right here was a $2,000 sale that day. I only spent $300. That's nearly a 10x ROI. If I am not tracking correctly, I would be treating that ad at a middle ground at a minimum. Most of the time, what I'd be doing if I wasn't tracking that is I just go in there and turn that off. And when you're making a mistake like that, when you turn off a winner, you lose. You can't scale like that. Most importantly, you're gonna notice on a lot of these days right here, I don't lose big chunks of money. You're gonna see I lose 50 bucks here, 50 bucks here, 60 bucks here. You don't see me going and blowing 500 bucks here, 200 bucks here. If you go look up most people's accounts as they're going to mid-tier, you're gonna see at least 30% of their ad spend is completely toast. And here is the problem with this. And I have to stress this. You don't have to get high risk, but you better damn track, and I don't know how you can do it without this. But I'm not pitching you right now. I just want to stress this. If you are going into this and you're in lower tier, and you're trying to get to mid to high tier, you got to understand this. It's like you're a basketball player. And you're playing in high school, and you're dunking on everybody, but everybody you're dunking on, you're 6'3", and everybody else is 5'8". And so you're dunking on everybody. You're putting the ball in, you're jumping over people, you're doing all sorts of high school highlight reels. That being said, you're not a very disciplined player. You have a lot of holes in your game. You have a lot of mistakes that you make, but they're not taken advantage of because the people you're playing against are leagues lower than you are. But when you get to mid-tier, what suddenly happens is everybody else is 6'3" too. There's no one who's an idiot. There's no one who doesn't know what they're doing. There's no one who's running completely unoptimized, poor converting ads. That's why margins get tighter, because as you go up higher in ad spend, let's say this is optimization right here, and this is tiers. So we got low tier, the high tier right here. As you scale up at low tier, everybody's just kind of like, nobody's tracking, nobody's doing anything right. You're working with really small audiences that aren't being targeted broad, so you can be really hyper-targeted, so your numbers are going to work out. As soon as you start to get to middle tier 2, it skyrockets, and you start playing against people who are taking their business really seriously. And you're going to go against these people right here. And if you were walking into this thinking you are going to beat someone who's as skilled as you, let's say in basketball, let's imagine you're 6'3". You go on the court, there's a guy who's carbon copy, the same exact height as you, has the same exact skills, and you go up against them. Okay, you guys are equals. But let's imagine you chop off, I don't know, 4 of your fingers. You start operating at 25%. That person who is a carbon copy of you, at least as talented as you, is going to beat you by default. If you are just 10% worse, guess what? That's a loss in ads. It's just like in basketball. If you lose by 10%, you still lose. If this person's bidding and targeting and optimization is 50% better than yours, 30%, guess what? You're just going to get out-margined. You're going to get out-margined. And so those bad habits you have, that bad tracking you have, it's not going to hurt you too much at low scale. As soon as you start scaling, it's like having bad habits and going into college basketball. You're going to start paying for those bad habits. And the farther you get up and the higher you scale, the more those habits hurt you. Whereas the point is, if you want to get the high skill, which is the NBA, if you're going out there and double dribbling, or your layup game isn't top tier, if your shooting game, if you get thrown off a little bit by a guy's hand in your face, you're not even going to be in the league. You're not going to get there. And if you try and take this stuff in the college, it's not going to work. If you were going against me with the exact same webinar and your copy is as good as mine, which I don't think it is at this point, it could be. I don't know. Okay? There aren't many webinars with copy as good as mine. If you are matching me step for step, but you're playing the middle ground on your winner ad sets and then you're losing 30% of your ad spend, you're just not going to compete. Because my 30% profit margin right there, saved by the waist, and then me going out there and only drilling down and spending money on my big winners, is just going to allow me to outspend you and then buy up all your ad space. Now, look, it's not like I'm going and actually buying a house that you want to live in, but you need to understand when you're bidding, a lot of people think it's just them and AdWords in the bidding contest. It's just you and AdWords, and you're the only person just interacting with rep bidding. No, there is 100 dudes who are selling something very similar to you, and the reason why your ad spend goes up, your clicks go up, is because they're advertising the same person. And so when you see your CPL go up, it's not because, oh man, people are they're resisting ads these days. It's because someone else is beating you. And you have to drive everything lower, or you're just going to lose right there. And so that's why I'm stressing tracking and being in this video, because you're not going to get very far in mid-tier. As soon as you go up and you start middle grounding a winning ad and you start investing in poor ads, you need to understand that everything gets magnified. This is the last thing I need to state. And to really put this in perspective, and then I'm done, but you won't take care of this until you understand how the numbers are going to operate once you start scaling up. Let's look at this little math problem right here, because this is exactly what you're going to see at scale. So let's imagine you're at $3,000 a day. You're going to see the same thing at $500,000 a day. I know 3K a day is a lot for a lot of people. So what I want to stress right here is the same factors and the same math is going to apply. Let's imagine you have 3 ad sets. Ad set 1 is giving you a 200% ROI. You're putting 1K a day in. Ad set 2 is giving you a negative 80%. And then ad set 3 is giving you a 150%. So your big winner is ad set 1. Your big loser is ad set 2. And your middle grounder is ad set 3. So when you're not tracking accurately, some days your clear winner ad set will look great. But you're not going to double down on that, because other days it's not going to look great. It's going to look like a middle grounder. It's going to look at 120%, 150%. Your middle grounder is going to look middle grounder. It's going to look like a loss. It's going to look like a win some days. Your big loser is some days going to look like a win, because sometimes it will get a scale. That every odd day where it gets a sale or something like that, okay, that looks great. So maybe just tracking's not right. If you're operating with this mindset, it's nutty, because what you're going to do is, this is exactly what I did, is you're going to treat these guys more or less the same. The one thing I want to stress right here is if you're spending 3K a day on these ads right here, that's $400 profit when everything is said and done. Because ad set 2, let's imagine you just spent $3,000 over the course of a month, okay? If we want to put this down to the level of lower tier. What's going to happen right here is you made 1K profit on the first ad, $200 profit on the third ad, but you lost $800. So that takes your net ROI down to $400. Okay, and that number right there doesn't make any sense. It's $500. So that's going to take your net ROI down to $700. If you just cut this dude out right here, that takes your ROI to $1,500 profit. That's very scalable. That's a 50% ROI. That's a 50% ROI on 3K a month or 3K a day ad spend. That's all you have to do. Just spot this guy for sure and get rid of him. What you're going to do, though, is because you can't spot these guys, is you're going to go and say, all right, cool, I'm making like a 30% ROI. Let's go and scale this up. 30 to 40, I mean like 20 to 30% right there. So what you're going to do is you're going to go and double all these ones. This is what everybody does. They go and double their ad sets. Over time, they increase it by 20% every day, 30%, 50% every day. What's going to happen is these numbers become a lot less friendly. So that 200% ad is going to drop to 160%. It's not going to keep the same margins at low scale. Your loser ad might keep the same losses. And your middle ground ad is going to keep operating at 120%. It's going to drop. And your lower ground ad is going to lose that 150%. It's going to drop down to 120%. And so what happens right here is once we go out there and scale this to 6K, let's say we double our ad spend, we're actually going to be making less money. We're going to lose money. We're not going to see a huge profit gain. This is why you die at scale. This is why you die at scale. Because as soon as you scale, these little problems right here in tracking come out and your profit starts to shrink. Where if I go and take this to, let's say, 9K, this is an unprofitable campaign. That's why scaling doesn't work. In order to scale, what you need to do is you need to stop treating everything the same. You have to be able to spot it. And so what instead you want to do is you need to go and say, kill this guy right here immediately. Then lower this guy back down to 1K. Okay, so maintain that 150% ROI. We're not going to drop below that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take that ad spend from 6K a day and put 5K into this guy right here. Sure, he might drop down to 150% because we've scaled a lot further. However, what just happened is we're going out there now, and the profit on this 5K, since it's 150%, 2,500. And the profit on this guy right here, since we're at 1K, is still 500. So now we just scaled our ad spend. Now we're making $3,000 profit. Okay, I'm not going to change the colors right here. This is very scalable. On our ad spend of 6K, we just made a 50% profit margin, 150% ROI. This is where we can scale at. That's why you have to track this to win at scale, because if you try and play with these low scale, goofy, loofy tracking numbers, you die. You just die, because the margins get tighter, the problems get bigger. And so you need to be able to spot, oh, okay, cool, I got this middle ground ad right here. And I want to keep it at this ROI right here. If I try and scale this middle ground ad, it's not going to work. That one's at its brink. But this ad right here that's at 200%, how far can we take that? And so you have to, you can't just spot your winners. You can't just spot your losers. You can't just spot your middle grounds. You have to know the point when your big winners start to slow down. You have to know the point when your ads start to slow down as well. You also have to be able to pinpoint your losers instantly. If you're not operating around that, you're going to scale your campaigns too far and kill the margins. If you don't know that, you're going to scale campaigns that are just right where they are and kill your margins. If you don't do that, you're going to have that 20 to 30% profit loss right there, which if you go into, let's say, we're spending 6K a day and we're losing 30%, that's going to again go knock out our margins and take us down to a 1K ROI. Those losses are massively damaging to your ads. So this is why I need to stress this. Do not screw around with this. You will have intense amounts of struggles growing your business to multi-million-dollar levels if you're trying to play at this disadvantage, because you're getting on the court with a carbon copy of yourself and you're missing your fingers on one hand. So now that you understand that, you can fix that all with Hyros. I'm not giving you a link to Hyros right now. I'm not pitching it. Just keep it in mind. That's exactly how I track all my stuff. So the next thing you're going to see is when you go and load up your ads, you're going to see that you should have your winning headline. You should have your winning funnel right now. And what you're also going to see is you're going to see your ads are going to have different costs to acquire a customer. So if I go into some of my campaigns right here, let's just go and say I'm going to look at these ads right here. So when you find your winning funnel, when you find your winning landing page, of course you want to start altering your ads around that message. What you're also going to see is you're going to see certain ads that you run are going to do particularly better than other ads. That's the big thing about YouTube. Your copy is such a determinant of your CPL and CPA. So you can see I have some ads down here that are doing $4 per lead that comes in here, and then I have ads up here that are doing 18. So what you need to do before you start scaling to mid-tier is you need to go and audit your ads and really look at the ad formula, ad message, and what you're showing in your ads that's connecting with the audience. You're not going to know right away. There's no carbon copy. I can't give you a script that's going to show you the exact proof you need to show, the exact story you need to tell. You're going to start slowly seeing the story that people want to hear. I want to stress these are my optimized ads. I have ads up here that will do way worse than this one. This one is still a pretty good ad. All right, this one has won a lot of split tests over time. All right, over the years. So you need to find your winning message first. And as you find your winning message, your ads, also start tweaking your landing pages to be even tighter with that message. You want this ad to speak directly to that landing page. And so before you start to scale, you find your best ads, but also start making more ads like them. Try to knock those ads out. You want to, what I see a lot of people do is they have like 3 ads that they've made for years. Stupid. Don't make a professionally filmed ad. Don't make a wonderful ad. Go out there and keep trying to break those ads with all sorts of stuff. I have professionally filmed ads. I have an ad where I'm just filming a mug. I have an ad where I'm in front of a computer. I have an ad where I'm filming from my iPhone. I have all sorts of stuff, and I'm always trying to break it. You need to go out there and try and destroy your first set of ads, because I guarantee they're probably not going to be your winners. If you had 5 starting ads, one of them is probably going to survive over the next few months. You must do that first. Next thing you also want to see is you want to go and look at your audiences of your ads, and you want to look at the results, and you want to see if there's any obvious, actually you want to go to demographics, you want to see if there's any obvious winners. There isn't any obvious winners here on this ad set if I look over it over 6 months or so, but sometimes you'll see a disproportionate people based on their age. You'll see a disproportionate amount of people based on their gender and their household income. So look for anything that's way off right here. You might see, if you look at all your stats, you might see a cost per conversion that's dramatically higher. Like, look at this one, 55 to 64. This is not where I'm winning at. 18 to 24, and then 25 to 34 are, this one right here is really expensive, but you can see the ROI right there. Okay, so we want to look at our cost per conversion, and we want to look at our conversion value. Now, what stats do we want to look at when we're looking at our results? I cannot stress this enough. You might disagree with me, and that's fine if you're an expert ad runner. If you're making millions of dollars a year with your ads, we can have different opinions all day. If you're not, stop looking at your clicks. Stop looking at your cost per view. Stop looking at your CPM. All that matters is money in and money out. If your CPL is super low on one ad, it's like $1 per lead, but there's no ROI, that ad's a failure. if your CPL is $20 for the same opt-in that is getting the $1 leads, but your ROI is 3x, that's a winner. The only thing I look at the end of the day is money out, money in. I'm going to go look at my ad sets and say, all right, which one, like you can see when I was skimming through, I can look at the clicks and the CPL and all those stupid stats. The only thing that matters is how much money did I spend? $170. How much money did I make? $2,000. That's what I'm going to look at. That's all I care about. These numbers right here are the only thing I look at. Now, are there other numbers you can look at? Yes, but those are symptoms. So rule of thumb, sometimes when I'm looking at ads, I'm going to look at the CPL, the cost to acquire the lead. That is not my end-all number. That's not what I shoot for. That's just like, oh, hey, I just launched this new ad set, and it's getting $4 to $5 leads. That's pretty good. Let's look at the ROI. If my ad set is doing very well, I'm going to look at the clicks. I'm going to look at the CPM. I'm going to look at those costs to diagnose a problem. But I only look at long-term sales to ad spend. That's all I'm going to look at. So you want to use those additional stats to diagnose problems. That's what I do. You want to use other stats like CPL as a rough rule of thumb, as an indicator. But I can show you ad sets where I'm getting the best CPL ever and they don't perform. So don't focus on that. So once you've gone and identified demographic imbalances, you've gone and you've identified your key stats, you've identified your key message, this is when we want to start scaling the mid-tier, because now we're working with something that's optimized. So before we're working with remember when we talked about a Charmander in the first video, we're working with a tier 1 Pokemon. Optimized, we just upgraded this. So this guy's really optimized now. We're only bidding on winners, we're eliminating our losers, we have our message toned in, we're working with a tier 2. This right here is something that can go and fight against optimized ads. It's something you can go and win fights. And this is where we want to be at. We do not want to try and scale a 1 into a tier 2 fight. It's not going to work. You've got to go out there and optimize it first. And then bare minimum, what you must do is, you don't see me doing this because I track properly, you can't be doubling down on crap. You cannot be scaling crap at the same time. You can't be like, oh man, this campaign looked like it got like 80% ROI, so maybe it'll work if I scale a little bit. No. You have to spot your crap and stop losing money. If you're going out there and spending $1,000 and 800 is spent correctly and 200 is spent wastefully, 20%, that's really easy to do. If you have 10 AdSense, it's just $50, $100 here or there. If you have this right here, you're operating at a 20% loss. If you're working at a 50% profit margin, that is substantial, especially when that 50% profit margin starts to shrink down to 30%. That's lethal. You can't do that. So now that you understand this stuff, here's the easy part. Where do we want to start bidding that? So what you want to do is, once you go out there and you clone your ads, you get your winning message ads, you're going to start seeing good CPLs and stuff like that. So then what you're going to do is you want to start cloning your campaign. So I'm going to go look at one of my campaigns, and what I'm going to do is, if it's working really well, I'm going to go and I'm going to copy it. I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it. Copy, and I'm going to paste it. I'm not going to do that right there, but you understand. I'm going to copy and paste it. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to expand to large placements. So remember when I was working with 100 or so placements from TubeSift? What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a search for that, but I'm going to try and upgrade it to like 300 or 500 placements. Easy. That way we can turn a $100 a day ad set into a $200 a day. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to go and expand to relevant placements. So if before I was targeting people that want to learn how to invest in real estate, I'm going to start targeting people looking at videos for how to make money, how to buy a house, how to make passive income, how to start a side job, easiest side businesses to start. I'm going to start expanding to relevant placements that share the core goal, not the niche, but the core goal of my product. If my product is to lose belly fat, I'm going to start targeting, and it's an exercise routine, I'm also going to start targeting diets. I'm going to start targeting supplements. I'm going to start targeting influencers. I'm going to start looking for influencers who are placing ads in the videos and start slapping my ads on those. So that's the first place we're going to go to. That is a very easy way. You can scale to $1,000 a day with that alone. Next is I'm going to do is very, very targeted custom intents. So what an intent audience is when you're going and creating your ad set, you can go down to audiences. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to go create a custom intent audience. So I'm going to go to browse, and I'm going to go to custom intent. And I'm going to go new intent audience. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in only my key keywords. So I'm going to put in real estate investing, real estate flipping. That's it. I'm gonna leave it right there. Now, Google's gonna tell you use 50 keywords. I don't. It works just fine. Can you use 50 keywords? Yes. But if you're not making multi-million dollars a year, why try and complicate stuff when you don't need to right now? Wait till you're killing it. That's it. I can scale this audience right here to $2,000, $3,000 a day. This is the only audience I need. No problem. You can easily scale this audience to $300 a day, $500 a day. No problem. So that's another $500 a day per super intent audience. Finally, I suggest you do this last one last. You want to expand your ads then to custom affinity audiences. So I'm going to do an affinity audience. What I'm going to do is I'm going to place websites here. I'm going to place my competitors' websites. So if you have a competitor who's a guru or something like that, I'm going to put his website right here. And it's going to go out there and find the type of people that are watching these sites. It's not going to create a lookalike audience of them. But what it's going to do is it's going to find people that are similar to people visiting those sites, which I suppose is kind of a lookalike audience. But it's going to look at the site. It's going to look at the topics on there. And it's going to generate the interest and whatnot based on the website and what it's looking at. And a correction there, it's not going to look at the visitors there. It's going to look at the site and what's going on there. And say, okay, this site is like this, and here's the type of people that usually visit the site with this type of information on it. That right there is really good, and you can start that off. That's easily an audience you can scale to $1,000, $2,000 a day. With all these audiences right here, wide placements, intent, and affinity, customs, each of these can scale. You can have multiples of these, and if they're super targeted, you can easily spend $1,000. After $1,000, placements get kind of hard. You can easily drop. You could have 2 to 3 intent audiences and be spending $200 on each. You can have a few affinity audiences and be spending $100 to $200 on each. This is more than enough to get you to $1,000 to $2,000 a day ad spend. And that right here is the point where you start becoming a multimillionaire. Because if you're doing $1,000 to $2,000 a day at a 2x ROI, that's going to be $2,000 a day back in your pocket and about $4,000 a day cash, which is the point where you become a multimillionaire. That's what you all want to do. Now, one of the things you can also do is if you already have a business, this is more so for existing businesses, you can upload your customer list or your email list. So when you do that, that's going to give you a similar audience. So I can go right here, and once you upload those, I can do similar audiences. So I can do people that are similar to watch my channel. What I suggest doing is you want to use a list of your buyers. It's a little bit loosey-goosey when you're uploading your entire email list because not all those people are buyers. So you want to go out there and you want to start going and using your customer list. Upload your email list if you don't have a lot of buyers. If you have over 100 buyers, just upload your buyers and use that as an audience. This right here is going to get you to $2,000 to $3,000 a day. And if you're not able to get to $2,000, $3,000 a day with this, guess what? Your ads suck. Your funnel sucks. Just go back and fix it. And then once you have it optimized, track that and then scale. If you're not scaling, it means you're not tracking or your funnel sucks. It's either of those two. It's either of those two. It's not anything else. So, or your ads also suck too. And that's why you need to go look at your message. So that's everything in this video. If you liked videos like this, you learned something, go below and subscribe because I'm releasing the final video, which is Turbo Tier, real soon. Maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, but you won't know unless you subscribe and hit the bell icon, which looks like a squibbly because I can't draw a bell. That's all there is to it. If you have any questions, comment below. I'll sometimes answer questions, and I'll see you in the next video. Be sure to subscribe or you won't get it. Ooh. All right, I'll catch you later.